Two people earn the same salary. Both are disciplined. Both put away $500 a month, every single month, for 30 years. They never miss. 30 years later, one of them has a little over $200,000. The other has more than $600,000. Same income, same discipline, same amount set aside. One decision, just one, created a difference of around $400,000. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what that decision is, why almost nobody makes it early enough, and how to make it yourself today. Because the gap between those two people was never about how much they made. It's about what they did with the money after they set it aside. Here's the uncomfortable part. The person who ended up with less did nothing wrong by conventional wisdom. They saved. They were careful. They kept their money somewhere safe where it couldn't drop in value. And that exact feeling of safety is what quietly cost them a fortune. Let's decode what's really happening, step by step. Start with saving. When you save money, in a checking account, a savings account, cash under the mattress, you're doing one job, and it's an important one. You're protecting money. Savings is armor. It's there so that when the car breaks down or the job disappears, you don't fall apart. That's real, and everyone needs it. But armor doesn't grow. $1 sitting in a basic account today is still just $1 next year. Except it isn't, because of one silent force: inflation. Every year, prices creep up a few percent, which means money that isn't growing is actually shrinking in what it can buy. Saving keeps your number the same while the world gets more expensive around it. That's why the careful saver ends up with a pile of cash that feels big but buys surprisingly little. Now the second person. They did something that feels riskier but does the opposite over time. Instead of only parking money, they put the surplus to work. They invested it. When you invest, you stop holding money and start owning things. Pieces of businesses, the broad market, assets that produce value and grow. And here's the magic that saving can never give you: compounding. Your money earns a return, then that return earns its own return, then that stacks again and again. It's slow and boring for years, and then it becomes almost unfair. Quick pause, because this is the most important thing I'll say. If a channel that breaks down how money actually works, no hype, no get-rich-quick nonsense, is useful to you, do one small thing for me. Don't forget to subscribe and give a thumbs up. It genuinely helps this reach the next person who needs to hear it. Okay, back to the numbers, because this is where it gets loud. Let's put both people side by side. $500 a month for 30 years. Over that time, each person personally sets aside the same $180,000 out of their own pocket. The saver, keeping it safe, ends up with a little over $200,000, barely more than they put in, and worth even less once you account for rising prices. Now the investor. If that same $500 a month earned the kind of long-term average the broad stock market has historically produced, very roughly 7% a year, it doesn't stop at $200,000. It grows to more than $600,000. Same monthly amount, same discipline, a difference of around $400,000. And almost all of it is growth they never had to earn at a job. That's not a trick. That's just what time plus ownership does, that time plus cash never can. There's a simple way to feel this: the rule of 72. Take 72, divide it by your yearly return, and you get the rough number of years it takes your money to double. At around 7%, money doubles roughly every 10 years. In a savings account earning almost nothing, your money might take the better part of a lifetime to double even once. One path doubles again and again. The other basically stands still. Stretch that difference over 30 years and you don't get a small gap. You get two completely different lives. So why doesn't everyone just invest? Because investing feels dangerous. The value goes up and down. Some years it drops, and watching your balance fall is genuinely uncomfortable. But here's the reframe that changes everything. Short-term ups and downs are not the real risk. The real risk is spending 40 years letting inflation quietly eat money that could have been growing. Volatility is the price of admission for that growth. And history is clear that time in the market, staying invested through the scary parts, has beaten trying to jump in and out. The people who win aren't the smartest ones. They're the ones who stayed. Now let's make this something you can actually do, not just understand. Here's the order. First, keep saving, but give it a job. Build an emergency fund of 3 to 6 months of expenses and keep that in a safe, boring, high-yield savings account. That's your armor, and it should never be invested. Second, once that cushion exists, take the money beyond it, the surplus you were letting pile up, and invest it simply in low-cost, broad index funds that own the whole market instead of betting on one company. Third, automate it. Set it to move on payday before you can talk yourself out of it, so that 30-year machine builds itself quietly in the background while you live your life. That's the whole decision. Saving protects you. Investing grows you. You need both. But most people spend their entire lives doing only the first half, then wonder why safe never turned into wealthy. The careful saver and the quiet investor were never really separated by money. They were separated by one choice, made early, and repeated. So before you go, 2 quick things. 1. Grab the free net worth tracker linked in the pinned comment. It's the simplest way to see how much of your money is armor versus how much is actually growing. And 2, the important one. Don't forget to subscribe and give a thumbs up so the next breakdown lands on your feed the day it goes up. And remember, this channel is for education only. It's not financial advice, and all investing carries risk, including the possible loss of what you put in. Now I want to hear from you, and be honest. Right now, roughly what percentage of your money is just sitting in savings versus actually invested and growing? Is it more like 90-10, 50-50, or are you already mostly invested? Tell me your split in the comments. I read every single one.